This week's Team of the Week, however, has made it past the regular season.
Who let the Bears out?
What you say?
Who let the Bears out? Who let the Bears out?
For the first time in the school's history, Hastings, the Fighting Bears, have made it to the playoffs. A big win over Stratford, 40-14. Coach, because of that, your accomplishments this year, we present you the 11 Sports High School Team of the Week and say congratulations.
Gifford, thank you very much. On behalf of the football team and Hastings High School, we certainly appreciate the recognition, and we thank you very much. You do a great job for high school athletics and football, and we appreciate that.
The Hastings Fighting Bears open on the road against the South Houston Trojans. Jason Craig stops the Trojans on 4th down to end the first drive. 4 plays later, Danny O'Neill hit Coy Deaver for a 70-yard TD catch and run. The Bears got good pass protection from Brian Pitcock, Randy Reed, and Anthony Jackson. Charles Peavy's kick was good, making the score 7-0. Tackle by Rudy Powell. Pass deflected by Stephen Four and intercepted by Maurice Payne and returned 21 yards to the Trojan 46-yard line. Byron Hall gets blocks from Anthony Jackson, Coy Deaver, and Ed Polabicki and rips off 14 yards. The drive ends in a 29-yard field goal by Charles Peavy. Randy Reed is the snapper, and Jason Dwayne is the holder, giving the Bears a 10-0 lead at the half. Dane Enriquez starts the second half with a big hit, causing a fumble, and Andy Mikulenka recovers. South Houston's next possession is stopped by a Maurice Enriquez pass interception and returned 45 yards. Good block by Jason Craig. On the next possession, the Fighting Bears held again, forcing a punt, which Sedaniel Sumter returned for 55 yards. Byron Hall gets a clearing block from Kerry Charles and scores from the 25-yard line. The Bears' next possession has big plays, including the Danny O'Neill pass to Sedaniel Sumter for 12 yards. Then Anthony Jackson clears the way for a 6-yard run by Sumter. Sumter follows Brian Pitcock, Anthony Jackson, and Coy Deaver for 11 more yards. Sumter scores from 4 yards out. Charles Peavy's kick is good, bringing the score to 24-0. Maurice Enriquez intercepts another pass to end the game. Sedaniel Sumter runs for 5 yards, and Danny O'Neill hits Coy Deaver for 8 yards and a first down. An inside counter by George Amerson is good for 15 yards and another first down. The drive stalls and the Mustangs take over. Tackle by Randy Powell. Interception by Maurice Enriquez, returned for 24 yards. The pass to Carl Parisi for 7 yards. The pass to Sedaniel Sumter down to the 9-yard line. Sumter gets good blocking from Kyle Jones, Ed Polabicki, Antonio Austin, and scores from the 4-yard line. The kick is good by Charles Peavy. The Bears go on the road and take on the number 3 area-ranked Vikings. Clarence Williams gets blocks from Carl Parisi and Anthony Jackson and picks up 15 yards. Drive stalls and Gary Castle punts 40 yards. Good punt coverage by Clint Ponder, Daniel Sumter, Jeff Messer, and Brent Anderson. The Fighting Bear defense forces a Viking field goal attempt, and Jason Craig blocks the kick, and the Bears take over. Danny O'Neill passes 27 yards to Coy Deaver. George Amerson carries 10 yards as the quarter ends. Antonio Austin bowls his way 6 yards and the TD. Charles Peavy's kick is good. The Bears open 17-5A district play with a 49-12 win over the Northbrook Raiders. The Bears start fast. Byron Hall follows Randy Reed, Anthony Jackson, Ed Polibicki, Kyle Jones, and Brian Pitcock for 30 yards. Good downfield block by Alphonse Stapler. George Amerson scores from the 10-yard line. A key block by Brian Hall. On the next offensive possession, Jason Duane throws a middle screen to Byron Hall. Good for 70 yards. The Fighting Bear defense was outstanding. A big hit by Maurice Enriquez. Then Scott Walker. Then an interception by Jason Craig, good for a 70-yard TD. The Fighting Bear offense puts more points on the board. Danny O'Neill hits Coy Deaver for 11 yards. He then hits Carl Parisi for 12 yards. Daniel Sumter follows Antonio Austin, Danny O'Neill, Coy Deaver, and Kyle Jones in for a 4-yard TD. Maurice Payne sets the Bears up for their final score with this interception and excellent run. Kerry Charles picks up 11 yards. Then Jason Duane follows Randy Reed in for the TD. John Fluker ends all Raider hopes with this interception. The Bears shut out the Tigers to go 2-0 in district play. Danny O'Neill hits Coy Deaver for 20 yards. Coy Deaver, George Amerson, and Ed Polibicki clear the way for Byron Hall in 15 yards. Antonio Austin scores from the 5, getting good blocks from Brian Pitcock, Anthony Jackson, and Coy Deaver. Later, Daniel Sumter follows Ed Polibicki to the right and goes 50 yards for his 3rd TD of the night, making the score 27-0. The Bears had another big game on defense. Maurice Enriquez intercepts this pass and returns it for 65 yards. Danny O'Neill throws for 202 yards and 2 touchdowns to lift the Bears to a 34-14 win over Terry and go 3-0 in district play. The Fighting Bear defense had another great game. Andy Mikulenka makes a big tackle. Then Maurice Enriquez intercepts and returns it 44 yards. On the next series, Dick Marisette and Sam Hayes get a quarterback sack. Rangers punt, and Jason Craig returns it 15 yards to the Ranger 44-yard line. Kerry Charles picks up 13 yards behind Brian Pitcock, Anthony Jackson, and Byron Hall. Byron Hall ends the quarter with a 28-yard run behind Clarence Williams, Carl Parisi, and Coy Deaver. Jason Duane throws a 10-yard TD pass with Coy Deaver making an outstanding one-handed catch. Danny O'Neill runs the option with Antonio Austin picking up 10 yards. O'Neill then hits Coy Deaver. He breaks a tackle and races 55 yards for another Fighting Bear TD. On the next series, O'Neill hits George Amerson behind the Rangers secondary for a 35-yard TD. Once again, the Bear defense shuts down the Rangers. Tackled by Maurice Enriquez. And then an interception by Brent Anderson. The offense gets big blocks from Tommy Harris and Kyle Jones, and Kerry Charles races 63 yards, the longest running play of the year. The Bears beat Memorial 17-3 at Tully Stadium Saturday night. Andy Mikulenka sets up the tone with this quarterback sack. Maurice Payne, Maurice Enriquez, Stephen Four, and Robert Schaffner make the tackle for no gain. The Bears get on the board first. Blocks by George Amerson, Carl Parisi, and Antonio Austin enables Byron Hall to pick up 19 yards. Danny O'Neill hits Coy Deaver on a 44-yard TD pass. The next Hastings drive ends in a Gary Castle punt, and the Bears get excellent coverage by Randy Reed, Ed Polibicki, Anthony Jackson, and George Amerson. Sean Morris causes a fumble, and Maurice Payne recovers for the Bears. This drive ends in a 25-yard field goal by Charles Peavy, giving the Bears a 10-3 lead. On the next possession, the Bears force Memorial to punt, and pressure by Duane Enriquez, Sean Morris, and Dick Marisette force a short punt, giving the Bears excellent field position. Danny O'Neill hits Carl Parisi for 27 yards. George Amerson gets good blocking from Brian Pitcock, Coy Deaver, Anthony Jackson, and Randy Reed, and scores from the 3-yard line, giving the Bears a 17-3 victory. Byron Hall ran for 211 yards and 4 touchdowns, and Hastings clinched a playoff berth in District 17-5A with a 40-14 blowout of Stratford. Antonio Austin powers his way for 12 yards. Byron Hall scores from the 15-yard line, getting key blocks from Kyle Jones and Carl Parisi. The Bears force a punt on Stratford's next possession, and Jason Craig returns at 17 yards. Danny O'Neill hits Alphonse Stapler. He avoids a tackler and goes 40 yards for the TD. The Bear defense again does their job, and the Bears have excellent field position. Byron Hall runs the draw, makes a beautiful run for 55 yards and another TD. Again, the Bear defense makes a big play. This time, a fumble recovery by Sam Hayes. Byron Hall gets excellent blocking from his line and goes 49 yards for another Bear TD. Andy Mikulink and Maurice Payne make this tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Pass intercepted by Jason Craig and returned 20 yards to the Spartan 10-yard line. Danny O'Neal to Coy Deaver is good for 9 yards and the TD. The Spartans again are stopped, this time an interception by Scott Walker. Danny O'Neal hits Kerry Charles for 20 yards and a first down. Byron Hall runs the sweep left, gets a downfield block from Danny O'Neal, spins off a tackler, and scores from the 20. The Bears end the game with another interception, this time by Maurice Enriquez. Charles Peavy's 3 extra points carries number 12 Hastings past Lamar Consolidated 21-20. A tackle by Steve Four, and then a fumble recovery by Four. Byron Hall picks up a good block by Coy Deaver and scores from the 16-yard line, giving the Bears an early 7-0 lead. The Bear offense gets going again. Danny O'Neal to Alphonse Stapler is good for 8 yards. Byron Hall picks up 7 yards. Coy Deaver reception picks up 17 yards. And Danny O'Neal to George Amerson pass is good for 30 yards and a TD. Tackle by Sam Hayes and Maurice Payne. Defense holds and gives the Fighting Bears good field position. A fair catch is made by Jason Craig on the punt. Danny O'Neal hits Alphonse Stapler for a 42-yard bomb, and Charles Peavy's 3rd consecutive extra point gives the Bears a 21-20 come-from-behind win. An Alief Stadium crowd of 8,000+ watch Hastings and Elsick battle it out for number 1 and number 2 in 17-5A. The tackle by Sam Hayes. Pass is broken up on a tremendous hit by Steve Four. Tackle by Sam Hayes and Maurice Enriquez. Pass intercepted by Maurice Payne. Danny O'Neal scrambles for 22 yards. Antonio Austin powers his way for 15 yards. Maurice Enriquez runs the sweep for 10 yards. Danny O'Neal hits Alphonse Stapler across the middle for a 24-yard TD. Peavy's kick is good, making the score 12-7. Number 9 area ranked Lamar beat number 12 Hastings 20-6 in bi-district of Class 5A Big School playoffs in the Astrodome. The Fighting Bears put up a tough fight. Rudy Powell makes a hard tackle, causing a fumble. Then Scott Walker and Dick Marisette make the stop, forcing the Redskins to attempt a field goal, which they missed. George Amerson picks up 4 tough yards. Then makes a nice reception for 11 more yards. Good blocking by Coy Deaver, George Amerson, Brian Pitcock, Randy Reed, as Byron Hall carries for 15 yards. O'Neal to Hall works for another 10 yards. Again, it's Hall called on, and he delivers with 19 yards. Antonio Austin follows Jeff Messer, Randy Reed, and Anthony Jackson for 5 yards. Tough running by Hall as he picks up 8 yards. The drive stalls, and Charles Peavy kicks a 26-yard field goal, making the score 6-3 Lamar. The Bear defense holds, forcing a Lamar punt, and Jason Craig returns it to the 20-yard line. The Bears put a good drive together with Hall starting it on a 4-yard run. Again, it's Hall in for 6 yards and a first down. Hall for 6 more yards. Antonio Austin gets good blocking from Coy Deaver and Brian Pitcock and picks up 9 yards. Coy Deaver makes a tough catch, good for 12 yards. Byron Hall catches a screen pass, gets a good block from Anthony Jackson, and picks up 9 yards. O'Neal to George Amerson connect on a 14-yard pass. With time in the half running out, Charles Peavy ties the score at halftime with a 29-yard field goal. In the second half, Byron Hall picks up a tough 15 yards. Antonio Austin picks up 3 more. Then Coy Deaver catches an O'Neal pass for 12 yards and a first down. The Bears are forced to punt, and Gary Castle gets off a high punt, which is mishandled, and Tommy Harris makes the recovery. The drive stalls with 3:30 left in the game, with Lamar leading 13-6. Jason Dwayne directs the final Hastings drive and hits Alfonso Stapler for 23 yards. Dwayne then scrambles to his left for 19 yards as time runs out on the Bears.
I'm Bobby Stewart, head coach, Hastings Fighting Bears. It's a real pleasure for me to introduce our 1990 Fighting Bear football team, our varsity coaches, our trainers, and student managers.
Steve Lomberg, defensive end.
Danny O'Neill, quarterback.
Charles Peavy, kicker.
Jason Dwayne, offensive quarterback.
Gary Charles, fullback.
Scott Walker, strong corner.
Coy Deaver, tight end.
Rudy Poe, linebacker.
George Emerson, wingback.
Stephen Ford, linebacker.
Thomas Moore, cornerback. John Fluker, free safety.
Jason Craig, defensive strong safety.
Byron Hall, offensive tailback.
Gary Kessel, punter.
Danny Regas, defensive end.
Sam Hayes, defensive end.
And Tony Austin, fullback.
Chris Walker, defensive back.
Reese Enriquez, defensive back.
Dick Marissette, defensive end.
Chatty Sideros, defensive tackle.
Brian Pickhock, offensive tackle.
Ed Payavicki, offensive guard. Roberto Shiro, linebacker.
David Harris, offensive center. Andy Mikalenka, defensive tackle.
Maurice Payne, middle linebacker. Tommy Harris, offensive guard.
Prince Lee, linebacker.
Brent Anderson, middle linebacker.
Sheldon Cochran, right guard.
Sean Morris, defensive tackle.
Anthony Jackson, offensive guard.
Kyle Jones, offensive tackle. Randy Reed, offensive center.
Brian Thurman, defensive tackle.
Jeff Messer, offensive guard.
Mark Pachusik, offensive tackle. Frank Alundra, wide receiver.
Alfonso Stapler, wide receiver.
Clint Ponder, tight end.
Carl Parisi, wide receiver.
Roger Kadakia, strong safety.
Robert Schaffner, defensive end.
Hello, I'm Wade Luker, defensive coordinator.
Smitty McKenzie, tight ends, split ends.
I'm Bert Logan, and I coach defensive ends.
Jay Bartz, linebacker coach.
Ken Sheffield, offensive line coach.
Ronnie Wilson, I coach the secondary. Joe Smith, manager. Keith Falk, manager. Brett Smith, manager.
Sean Winkler, student trainer.
Jamie Parker, student trainer.
Kevin Pigcock, student trainer.
Joanne Poe, student trainer.
Melanie Caldwell, athletic trainer.
Bill Wisson, athletic trainer.